Hi, welcome to Workplace Writing. I'm Elizabeth Lang, your instructor. I'm not going to teach you to write as though you didn't already know how. You know more than you think you do about using available media and media interface programs such as Microsoft Word, iMovie, PowerPoint, and the rest. It generally turns out as we go through this course that most of us are just nervous about how to communicate right, and then a written or communication project grinds to a halt while we decide how to do it. Think of this Blackboard environment as a place, as your classroom and desk library combined, and think of the other people enrolled as coworkers that you see every day. And you probably should check online every day when you're in an online course in English 3355. And what we're going to do then is try to develop with and for each of you a toolkit of critically considered skills and rhetorical knowledges that will help you meet every writing and communication task head on, fearlessly, and analyze it and execute it well because you know how. How are we going to do that? First, consider these questions. What is writing and what is rhetoric? Well, as to writing, most of us think of writing as the production of dull prose in response to a boring assignment or task, and that's pretty much it. But if you think of this class more as effective communication for professional purposes, it broadens your perspective a little. You don't want to know anymore about what a complete sentence is. You don't need to. You don't want me to lecture you on grammar and work your papers over for that. What you want to know is, how do I figure out what needs to be communicated and what is the best way to do it given the current circumstances I'm working with, more or less, right? Well, we'll do it by working to develop a critical rhetorical awareness of what your communication or writing task is at any given time, who your reader or audience is, and how that audience expects to be addressed, and how to write or speak or get the message across to that audience so that she or he or they will understand your message and receive it positively for positive results. About 2.5 millennia ago, Aristotle said that rhetoric is an ability in each case to see the available means of persuasion. And for the Greeks and for the Romans later, rhetoric, communicating, was all about speaking for persuasion. They didn't have the internet. Speaking was the way to communicate ideas, whether in a small group or a large one. Sure, they had writing, but how many scribes and how much sheepskin for scrolls could you produce versus speaking to hundreds of people at a time or to a dozen people every day with the same message? They thought a lot about persuasion, but it wasn't just convincing people of your position on the matter at hand. It was getting people to buy into you and your message, whatever your purpose was. Or look at it this way. A well put together website is much more convincing than a crappy little webs.com site with no pictures, right? That's what you expect from a good website. Good composition. Likewise, the people your writing is aimed at expect certain things. So, such compositions as an engineering report, for example, a lab report. You'll do plenty of these if you're in any of the sciences as well. Letter to an angry consumer, an instruction booklet, a press release, a monthly performance report or profitability report, a report on committee research, a sales letter. Everything you will need to compose in college and in your career is meant to convince the receiver that you get it and you know the process in question. Or sometimes you'll be writing to convince, persuade, inform, explain. For example, to report your work and its results and show your superiors you followed protocol. To explain to the consumer how to operate what your company sells. To persuade the consumer that your company will do the right thing. To explain to the consumer how to operate. I think I already said that. To present news or facts or associates or to associates or to the public so that they see things the way you want them to see them, your way. And you might be in a position to explain to your boss's bosses that your department did everything right to be profitable or to get the job done in the best way possible. You might have to convey to a department or committee group the pertinent facts they need to know to plan a project, and so on. So any idea that you don't need writing probably can be put to bed. You will have to be writing, and writing is composition. Writing is not always just a bunch of words on paper. The Roman orator and teacher Quintilian defined the practice of effective rhetoric as a good man speaking well. Well, we can give the Greeks and Romans a pass on the gender thing. That's just a cultural difference, right? We're beyond that. But maybe what we're working toward in English 3355 is a good, informed, and purposeful woman or man communicating well in each case or specific context. And referring back to Aristotle, we might say we're building critical abilities that prepare you to think through the available means of executing your message to accomplish its purpose. So now, having said all that lofty rhetorical stuff, I have to tell you that your tasks are not so very grand in English 3355. You will learn the elements of a good letter and write purposed letters. You will assemble a job application portfolio, which is one of probably the largest assignment and very important, and some will give you something you can take with you. You'll research an English as lingua franca issue and report on it. You'll work with a committee, a team, to create a problem-solving process in a real-world scenario. And you'll compose and execute, as a committee, a professional report on that process. To develop the skills you need to successfully compose the major projects, you'll use the course's assigned books, and you'll complete minor assignments associated with them. Online learning can be more efficient and effective than traditional classroom learning, but most teachers feel that the loss of face-to-face contact is potentially a downside, especially when the coursework has elements of team or committee collaboration, as we will have later in the semester. So you'll see that a lot of tasks and online work are meant to foster and continue a feeling of community or a class cohesiveness among us. In the first week, our work is aimed at a kind of orientation to the course and to each other. There's also a reading in the book, Writing That Works, and a short response to that in your journal that continues in the discussion board. You'll see all of that in the Week 1 module and the Getting Started modules. If anything at all is not clear, go to the discussion forum titled Help, 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 and ask the question. I check mail and online often. So now you should go to the Getting Started module on the home page and complete the tasks given there. One of those tasks is that I've asked you to make a video, just kind of the way I'm making a video, which is with all your stuttering and all your starts and stops. Don't bother with fancy editing. Just turn on Photo Booth or whatever program is in your computer, and put your face where your name goes online. And instructions for that are found in the Getting Started module as well. And another thing, one more thing, I think is that since you've elected an online course, I assume that you won't have any major problems with technology. But if you need help, call or go to the help desk at the Technology Center, 3rd floor of the library. Get any problems straightened out as soon as you can in the semester, because as you'll see when you read the syllabus, which is part of what you're asked to do in the Getting Started segment, is that it's just a must to be competent with this technology. There are no excuses in that direction. And I'll probably be the first one wishing I could make excuses in that direction. But the help desk people are very, very competent, and I actually recommend more than one visit there to get everything you're trying to do straightened out if you're still in that learning curve. So I look forward to meeting all of you here in Blackboard, and go forth and make that video and get started. I'll be releasing the weekly learning modules a little bit ahead of each week on the Sunday before the week starts. And so I'll see you on Blackboard.